Goes blue. Yes. Hare Krishna, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to our morning program here in Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, West London chapter. Here we are. It's a rainy morning in London. No surprises. And thank you, dear. Fantastic. Okay, yes. Okay. So, and today is also Diwali Day. So it's one of the big festival days in India, and the month of Kartik. It's one of the big days in Kartik, certainly in India, and certainly in London, where we have many Indians living also, and British people with Indian background. And a very sweet festival in India, in all the ghee lamps burning everywhere, all around Manasi Ganga in Govardhan. All the ghats are glowing in the golden light of the lamps, and outside the temples and inside the temples, and all the pilgrims and coming in to offer a light, a deep Deepavali, offer the light to the Lord, and to light the sky, light the world for the return of Ram to Ayodhya, and the victory of Sri Ram. So, and then there's, it's a family holiday, so everybody comes together and shares sweets and different kinds of prasadam. So it's a very sweet holiday. It's quite loud in India, as many things are quite loud. So there's usually a lot of fireworks going on, and when I say fireworks, explosions anyway. Can be fireworks, can just be dynamite, I think. Although in recent years they've tried to calm that down a little bit because of the smog at this time of year, and in the north around Delhi. And now I don't know, but still the celebration will be going on for Diwali, so Diwali Day. We will also be lighting a fire here inside the temple, I think. Hare Krishna. Because today some fortunate souls they've received the second initiation, the Gayatri Mantra already, and today we will do the formal side of things, you can say, but it's very beautiful and auspicious, the fire ceremony, the yagya. But today is a wet day here. We've had some sunny days, but today is wet, so we will have to do it inside. But, the Hare Krishna devotees, they can do these things even in Green Street or anywhere. And we heard recently, you did one? No. There was a fire yagya in Sweet Lake City. And then the next day, I think, or 2 days later, we did one in Italy. So we were hearing all the stories that devotees had of fire yagyas I have known, kind of thing. And we heard this very hilarious story of from Paramananda, the first fire yagya in Russia. And of course it was in some apartment in one of these, blocks of flats they have. One of these endless blocks of flats from the communist times. So of course the devotees are all there, and they've made a fire inside the flat and everything. The windows are open, and there's a whole bunch of new brahmanas going to participate, and this yagya is for them. So they handed out the various items, including the banana. So each devotee was given a banana, and they all went into ecstasy because it was Soviet times and you never saw bananas. Paramananda says he can remember queuing up for hours for like a little bunch of totally green bananas, then you'd have to wait for them to ripen and all this. Go and look at them, see if you could eat them yet. So all the devotees got these bananas, and they were all like transported in ecstasy. But then when they realized they had to put them in the fire, he said there was almost a mini revolution. They didn't want to do it. They're like, really? I've got to put it in the fire. And then after it was all over, they were digging them out of the fire to see if they could still eat them. So anyway, just some funny memory from Paramananda Prabhu from a different world and different times. How things will be again, we don't know. That was a time in that part of the world where, bananas were not something you saw every day. Maybe we'll come to that time again, we don't know. But anyway, it's kind of funny to remember the antics of the activities of the devotees in the previous fire sacrifices. And it's beautiful. It's to encourage the devotees. Actually, we have no qualification to perform Vedic rituals, actually. But Gurudev liked us to do that as a formality, we can say, and to encourage. It's beautiful and it's encouraging. And we're always taking shelter of the holy name. That is our mantra. That is our yajna. So if we're chanting that sincerely, then everything will be harmonized with all these mantras that need to be chanted and so many things. What can we do? Really. So anyway, but we have Devashish Prabhu coming to lead the ceremony, and he's very qualified and has lots of experience in many things. So that will be wonderful. And okay, so sadly I missed yesterday's class. Oh, we moved on fast. 40 something, wonderful. So we just started chapter 3 of the Adi Leela. So we're moving on with Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Not that one. The external reasons for the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, let's see, and we were on text 40, or thereabouts, something like that. So we'll keep on reading. Mahaprabhu has, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj has given us already some very deep and shastric or supported conclusions of who is Sri Krishna, who is the absolute truth. What is it? That first sloka of Bhagavatam. Setting the stage, and now we're moving on. This chapter, the external reasons why he will come, why that Param Brahman will come as Mahaprabhu, and then the following chapter, what are the internal reasons for that? So it looks like, well, I'll just go back a little bit. And hear a few of these shlokas in English, because we have extra time here, because we don't have to do translation. Although actually we could do translation. We could do a Spanish translation quite happily, but we don't. But actually it's quite nice to be able to just speak and not have to stop every minute for some translation. So let's go back to 35, when Krishnadas Kaviraj is producing shlokas about the different incarnations, the different appearances of Svayam Bhagavan, the supreme reality, in the different ages and through different periods. So 35, knowing him, Lord Chaitanya, to be the incarnation for the Kali Yuga, Gargamuni, during the naming ceremony of Krishna, predicted his appearance. And he quotes the verse from the Bhagavatam 10th canto. This boy Krishna, this is Gargamuni speaking at the ceremony for giving the name to the little baby Krishna. This boy Krishna has 3 other colors, white, red, and yellow. As he appears in different ages, now he has appeared in a transcendental blackish color. Transcendental blackish color. Krishnatam. And then Krishnadas Kaviraj continues, white, red, and yellow, these are the 3 bodily lustres that the Lord, the husband of the goddess of fortune, assumes in the ages of Satya, Treta, and Kali, respectively. So verses from Bhagavatam talking about this Lord of yellow, golden color. Again, it's continuing. Now in the Dvarapa Yuga, the Lord has descended in a blackish hue. This is the essence of the statements in the Puranas and other Vedic literatures with reference to the context. And then another shloka from Bhagavatam. In the Dvarapa Yuga, the personality of Godhead appears in a blackish hue. He is dressed in yellow, he holds his own weapons, and he is decorated with the Kaustubha jewel and marks of Srivatsa. This is how his symptoms are described. Okay, so hearing the different colors of the Lord. Okay, Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we're going to start at text 40. Kali Yuga Yuga Dharma Namera Prachara Tatilagi Pitavana Chaitanya Avatara. The religious practice for the age of Kali is to broadcast the glories of the holy name. Only for this purpose has the Lord, in a yellow color, descended as Lord Chaitanya. Tapta hema samakanti prakanda sharira navamega jinikanta dvani ye gambira. The luster of his expansive body resembles molten gold. The deep sound of his voice conquers the thundering of newly assembled clouds. Daigya vastari ye apanada haite chari hastahaya mahaparusha vikyata. One who measures 4 cubits in height and in breadth by his own hand is celebrated as a great personality. Nyagroda parimandala haya taranama Nyagroda parimandala Tanu Chaitanya Guna Dhama. Such a person is called Nyagroda Parimandala. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who personifies all good qualities, has the body of a Nyagroda Parimandala. So some unique bodily features, we can say. Ajanulambita Bhuja Kamalalochana. We know those words from our different arati songs for our gurus and others. Ajanulambita Bhuja Kamalalochana Tila Fula Jininasa Sudangshu Vadana. His arms are long enough to reach his knees. His eyes are just like lotus flowers. His nose is like, it's got a pearl, but it's like a sesame seed. But wearing a pearl, yes. and his face is as beautiful as the moon. Sudhangshu Vadana Shanta Danta Krishna Bhakti Nishta Parayana Bhaktavatsalya Shushila Sarva Bhute Sama. He is peaceful, self-controlled, and fully devoted to the transcendental service of Lord Krishna. He is affectionate toward his devotees. He is gentle, and he is equally disposed towards all living beings. Chandanera Angada Bala Chandana Bhushana Nityakali Parikarena Krishna Sankirtana. He is decorated with sandalwood, bangles, and armlets, and anointed with the pulp of sandalwood. He especially wears these decorations to dance in Sri Krishna Sankirtan. Hare Krishna. What a transcendental, beautiful sight to behold. E Shabaguna Lana Muni Vaishampayana Sahasra Name Kaila Tanra Nama Ganana. Recording all these qualities of Lord Chaitanya, the sage Vaishampayana, Vyasadeva, included his name in the Vishnu Sahasranam, 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu, composed by Vyasadeva. Mahaprabhu's name is there. It's just establishing what's going on. Dui Lila Chaitanyera Adi Arashesha Dui Lilaya Chari Chari Nama Vishesha. The pastimes of Lord Chaitanya have two divisions. The early pastimes, Adi Lila, and later pastimes, Shesha Lila. He has 4 names in each of these 2 Leelas. And then we go to a verse from the Mahabharata. Dana Dharma Vishnu Sahasranama Stotra. This is a verse from the Mahabharata. Anyway. Suvana Vano Hemango Varangas Chandanan Gadi Sanyasa Krich Chama Shanto Nishta Shanti Parayanaha. In his early pastimes, he appears as a householder with a golden complexion. His limbs are beautiful, smeared with the pulp of sandalwood, seems like molten gold. In his later pastimes, he accepts the sannyas order, and he is equipoised and beautiful. He is the highest abode of peace and devotion, for he silences the impersonalist non-devotees. And Krishnadas Kaviraj continues. Vyakta Hari Bhagavate Kahe Bhara Bhara Kali Yuga Dharma Nama Sankirtana Sara. Sara is essence, like Shara Nagati, the essence of everything. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is reportedly and repeatedly and clearly said that the essence of religion in the age of Kali is the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. And we heard the day before yesterday, Srila Govinda Maharaj also talking very beautifully about the Lord's holy names and his unlimited holy names, that if chanted with sincere, what was it? Respect, honor, and good feelings. Respect, honor, and good feelings are fully invested in that divine power. And Gurudev was very happily saying, I'm happy to see this, these unlimited names. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is making this point from the Srimad Bhagavatam. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's repeatedly and clearly said that the essence of religion in the age of Kali is the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. Okay, then we go to the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Iti dvapara urvisha stuvanti jagad ishvaram Nanda tantra vidhanena kalavapi yatha shrinu. O king, in this way people in Dwapara Yuga worship the Lord of the universe. In Kali Yuga they also worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead by the regulations of the revealed scriptures. Kindly now hear of that from me. Continues. Krishna Varnam Tvishak Krishnam Sangopangastra Parshadam Yagyai Shankirtana Prayai Yajanti Hi Sumeda Shaha. So this is one of the very famous verses predicting Mahaprabhu, predicting this Harinam Sankirtan of Mahaprabhu. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the name of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. We don't see a lot of his weapons, but I remember hearing that when Nityananda was attacked and Mahaprabhu by Jagai and Madai, and when Mahaprabhu heard it, he was running there to do some damage, and Sudarshan Chakra was starting to come to his finger so he could start lopping some heads or whatever was necessary, and Haridas Thakur had to pacify him and say, my Lord, this is not what we're doing now. We're doing different. So, but everything there, because he is the original Lord, so whether we can see it or not, he has everything with him. But so he's quoted these verses from the Bhagavatam and the Mahabharata and other places, establishing, look, it says it here, it says it here, it says it here, it says it here. We're not just pulling this out of the air. We're not just making this up. It's not just a dream we had. It's fully supported by the revealed scriptures. Shunabhai e Saba Chaitanya Mahima e Shloka Kaitana Mahimara Singha. My dear brothers, please listen, please hear all these glories of Lord Chaitanya. This verse clearly summarizes his activities and characteristics. Krishna e duivana shada yana muke atava krishnate tiyo vane nija suke. The two syllables Krishna are always in his mouth, or he constantly describes Krishna with great pleasure. Either way, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna is coming from his lotus mouth. Krishna Vana Shabera Ata Duita Pramana Krishna Vinutara Muke Nahi Asheana. There are two meanings of the word Krishna Vana. Indeed, nothing else but Krishna issues from his mouth. Kaya Tana Bali Yadi Krishna Varana Ara Visheshane Tara Kare Nivarana. If someone tries to describe him as being of blackish complexion, the next adjective, Tvisha Akrishnam, immediately restricts him. Deo Kante Hayateno Akrishna Varana, Akrishna Varane Kai Pita Varana. His complexion is certainly not blackish. Indeed, his not being blackish indicates that his complexion is yellow. Pita. Mayura Mukata Pitambaradari Muralidara Govardhanadari. Okay, he's wearing the beautiful yellow. Oh, yeah. Okay, Hare Krishna. So now, Krishnadas Kaviraj is giving us a verse of Rupa Goswami. From the Stava Mala of Rupa Goswami. Kalau yang vim vangshaha spurtam abhiyajanti juti bharad akrishnangam krishnam maka vidibhir utkirtana mayehi upashyam cha pridhoyam akila chatustashrama jusham sadevas chaitanya kriti atitarang na kripayatu. By performing the sacrifice of congregational chanting of the holy name, learned scholars in the age of Kali worship Lord Krishna, who is now non-blackish because of the great upsurge of the feelings of Srimati Radharani. He is the only worshipable deity for the Paramahamsas, who have attained the highest stage of the fourth order, sannyas. May that supreme personality of Godhead, Lord Chaitanya, show us his causeless mercy. Pratyakshatahare tapta kanchanera duti yahara chataya nashe agyana tamashtati. One can vividly see his glowing complexion of molten gold, which dispels the darkness of ignorance. Just the glow of his beautiful, transcendental, molten gold body, aura, the luster. Jivara kalmashu tamo nashakaribare anga upanga nama nana astadhare. The sinful life of the living beings results from ignorance. To destroy that ignorance, he has brought various weapons, such as his plenary associates, his devotees, and the holy name. So these are his weapons. Sometimes we've heard our weapons are the madanga and the kartel. So yes, very sweet. So he has brought his weapons, but they're not the same kind of weapons. They're his associates. He's got the weapon of Haridas Thakur and the weapon of Nityananda and the weapon of all these devotees and the holy name. Okay, we'll have Hare Krishna, a couple more verses. Bhaktira virodhi karma dharma va adharma tahara kalmasa nama se mahatama. The greatest ignorance consists of activities, whether religious or irreligious, that are opposed to devotional service. They are to be known as sins, which is this word kalmasha. This is a little different from the word we're used to as pap. So that would be a word to look up. Kalmasa, anyway. Bahutuli hari bali prema Ch.Ch. Kariya kalmasha nasha premita bhashaya. Raising his arms, chanting the holy name, and looking upon all with deep love, he drives away all sins and floods everyone with love of God, with love of Godhead. Okay, two more, and then we'll read something from Gurudev. This one is coming from, this one's also from the Stavamala of Rupa Goswami. Smitaloka shokam harati jagatam yasyo parito girantu praramba kushala patalimpala vayati padalamba kamva pranayati nahi premani vahang sadevas chaitanya kritiyati bhaktaram na kripayatu. Oh, similar, but not exactly the same. May the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the form of Lord Sri Chaitanya, bestow his causeless mercy upon us. His smiling glance at once drives away all the bereavements of the world. And his very words enliven the auspicious creepers of devotion by expanding their leaves. Taking shelter of his lotus feet invokes transcendental love of God at once. So Rupa Goswami's words, very beautiful. It drives away all the bereavements of the world, all the losses of the world, all the homesickness of the world. All that driven away, and his words enliven the auspicious creepers of devotion by making their leaves expanding their leaves. Hare Krishna. And then one more from here, then we'll read a little bit. Shri Anga, Shri Mukha, ye kari dharashana, tada papak shayahaya, paya prema dhana. Anyone who looks upon his beautiful body or beautiful face becomes freed from all sins and obtains the wealth of love of Godhead. Paya prema dhana. Okay, so that's a good place to stop. That means we'll be on 65 tomorrow. So we'll leave Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita at verse 65, and then we shall quickly move to Verita Revelata, also known as Revealed Truth.
May I ask a quick question?
Yes, please.
It's repeatedly expressed Sankirtan Yagya, and the theme of Yagya today.
Yes.
I interpreted to mean when we go on Harinam Sankirtan, it tends to be late and dark and rainy, and there's some sacrifice required
right.
Before we can actually join the Sankirtan. But I was wondering what your interpretation of Yagya, Harinam Sankirtan Yagya is. Why is it called sacrifice?
Hare Krishna. Yeah, I thought about this question as well myself, because it's a joyful thing pretty much. So in that sense, it wouldn't seem to be. But it's all about Sharanagati ultimately. I mean, those, like we were saying the other day, all the Svaha business, all that, even those precious Russian bananas going into the. We're representing. I mean, no doubt it has some. Ghee is expensive, so putting ghee into the fire is some literal sacrifice. But at the same time, it's an outer formal expression of what we want to happen with our hearts. Is that I am to go into that fire, svaha, that everything I am and think I am anyway, and all those things should go into that fire for the service, for your service, and be made anew, so to speak, and dance according to your tune. So, and we know that in the when we go on, Sankirtan with drums and karatals in the city or wherever, we know that also is coming from, it's an internal, we have to find that prayerful and centered mood, because we can feel like shy in so many things. And there's so many distractions. There's many things. But we've all experienced that if we can just try and focus and chant and try to do some service, then very quickly it becomes very joyful and ecstatic, and we couldn't care less about anything else, really. Standing outside, you know, the Houses of Parliament, where we're going, Nitai Gora Haribol! It's fantastic, you know, it's just nothing like it, really. And all the great cities of the world, of the byways and highways of Navadvip Dham, or Vrindavan Dham, it's super beautiful. So in that way, I think it's just the giving of oneself to that is our sacrifice. But actually, it's not a sacrifice at all, really. It only appears that way. How can any of it be sacrifice, really? Giving up what is illusory, temporary, limited. We're not actually giving up, but we think we are. I mean, we're attached to our chains, so to speak. So, I mean, I don't know whether there's probably many Shastric points specifically about that.
Same as tapasya. Similar idea to tapasya.
Yes. I mean, burning is also burning. Burning the what is the fire of purification, we can say. And it's very sweet. So getting up in the morning, we don't want to get up in the morning because we want to sleep in the morning, but we do that because it's for a higher purpose. And then once we're up, everything's wonderful, and we think, it's wonderful. And so many examples like that we can say. It's we're like little babies, and we're trying to adjust ourselves properly and offer ourselves into that fire ultimately. That's why we're singing every day of Sharanagati and the giving of oneself to that higher. So it seems like some tapasya, but Nanda always likes to quote Gurudev saying, "Why worry when the process is so sweet?" It's very sweet things we do, actually. So anyway, I don't know whether that, but that's how I think of it anyway. Of a Harinam Sankirtan Yagya. So yesterday, or the day before, we began this chapter of Mahaprabhu's mood of devotion, and we covered the first shloka, cleaning the mirror of the mind, and the Lord's infinite names that we just mentioned. We were talking about those. And we were right. For primary practitioners, he taught that anyone can chant names of the Lord if they have honor, respect, and good feelings for that name. He's talking about the unlimited names. And okay, so we're on the next little subsection now, which is called spiritual misfortune. Hare Krishna, misfortune. We're going on to the next verse 2 of Shikshastakam. And then Mahaprabhu prayed, Etadrishativa kripa bhagavan mamapi dodaiva mitrishamiha janinanuraga. O Lord, you have bestowed your great mercy by appearing in this material world in the form of your holy names. But I am very unfortunate, and still I do not feel eagerness to chant your holy names. And these are the words of Srila Govinda Maharaj, remember. Mahaprabhu had full attachment and attraction to Krishna and his holy name. Mahaprabhu felt the full association of Krishna through his holy name. So why does Mahaprabhu express that he does not have any attraction to Krishna? Because he was so deeply connected with Krishna through his holy name that he felt ever increasing hankering for Krishna. He felt he needed more and more attachment to Krishna's holy name. In divine ecstasy, Mahaprabhu felt unsatisfied with the Lord's revelation and his own position. He considered himself unfortunate because he did not have a deeper connection with Krishna's holy name. We can understand Mahaprabhu's mood in this way, and we can understand that his expression in this verse is also a very important lesson for us. With this verse, Mahaprabhu also teaches the conditioned souls that the holy name is all-powerful, that the holy name has full ability to reveal himself in our hearts, and that we will immediately feel the result of our chanting if we chant the holy name purely. Therefore, if we are not experiencing such revelation, if we are not feeling joyful progress in our hearts and minds, if our faith is not becoming firm, if everything is not being fulfilled to our devotional mood, and if we are not getting the association of the Lord through his divine name, then we must consider that our dudaiva, we must consider that our dudaiva, our great misfortune. The next section, melting our stone-like hearts. Melting our stone-like hearts. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explained that dudaiva means aparad, offensive mentality. He explained that Mahaprabhu's teaching for the conditioned souls in his second verse of the Shastakam is that the Lord's all-powerful holy name will not reveal himself in our hearts if we have an offensive mood. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave this explanation of Mahaprabhu's expression with this verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Tadasma sharam hridayam batedam yajgriya manaya harinama deyayu na vikrayatata yadha vikaro nichajalam gatra rohesho hashaha. Second canto. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur put great emphasis on this verse. His explanation was, one who hears the glories of the Lord's holy name and chants the Lord's holy name, but does not develop love and affection for the holy name, is a great offender with a stone-like heart. There must be something offensive in their heart. Otherwise, they would automatically feel love for Krishna and chant his holy name purely. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explained the phrase ashma sharam, stone-like heart, by saying that the heart becomes stone-like when someone has a strong materialistic mentality. I am my mundane body, and everything that belongs to me is mine. When someone has the materialistic mentality of I, me, mine, their devotional practicing life and chanting of the Lord's holy name is mixed with offense. As there are different varieties of stone, some of which are harder than others, so the hearts of people are not equally hard. Some person's heart will melt sooner, and some person's hearts will melt later. Though gradually everyone's heart will melt, and everyone will feel love for the Lord's holy name. So we can stop there because the next section is a little longer. It's called Avoiding Offense. So tomorrow we'll hear Gurudev speaking how we can do something about our stone-like heart. And we've been in some initiations recently in Italy. Srila Madhusudamaj initiating devotees, and we were there with Gurudev initiating devotees, and he would almost always, to all intents and purposes, go through the 10 offences of the holy name, the 4 abhas, as being something that we have to keep them, as we're chanting, we have to keep those in mind and remember what they are, search for them within ourselves, and, pray for some divine assistance to address those things. We want to chant nicely, we want to chant purely. So anyway, that's for tomorrow. So we had a wonderful morning, continuing with the different colours of Krishna, finally ending up with this beautiful golden colour of melted gold, just seeing that colour, all the sins flying out of the conditioned jiva souls, and then some serious words from Srila Gurudev, that the power in these names are unlimited, and that the how I am chanting needs to change. So Hare Krishna, everyone, and Jai Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki Jai, and Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, Shri Chaitanya Acharya Vrinda ki Jai, Srila Bhakti Nimala Acharya Maharaj ki Jai, Jai Srila Bhakti Rakak Shira Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, and Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki Jai. So, Ananda Surupini Didi, do you want to sing Hare Hare Nama Krishna? I think there's a button, I think it's the top button you press. And it goes off. That blue light. Maybe. Not quite sure. Nitai Gaura Haribo. Haribo. Or maybe we just press the camera, I guess, would be easier. Before we get too involved in all the technological. Oh, that blue light's still, yeah, just.
Can still see.
Oh. It's this one here, this red button. Oh, yeah, I think so.
Now it's saying forward.
Oh, here we go. This one. Stop. Still doing it?
Yeah, looks like it. I mean, it's like it's not, so.
Oh, stop.
It's not really. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, it's complicated. Just stopping it.
No, I was stopping it over there. It stopped.
Oh, they've stopped.
Don't worry about it.
Okay. Very good. Hare Krishna. I didn't even see you coming in.